Let's do it. Welcome back to the Dad Chat Podcast, a beautiful October evening in uptown New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm your host, Jeff Duncan, alongside Garland, Gillen from Fox 8, and, of course, the inimitable Clyde, Verdin. And we are very excited to be here tonight.
Ooh, they're clapping for us now. Yes, to
wow,
start the show.
Studio audience on hand.
We didn't even need to put a sign up that said clap right after that.
We had an applause sign that no one can see. That applause sign is working.
And laughter, laugh tracks.
Very, very excited to be back here at NOLA Brewing, the tap room on Chapatula Street in uptown New Orleans. Episode 10. Can you believe that, Clyde?
I can't believe it that we've gotten this far. It's really episode 13, but we're going to go with 12 just to keep everything level.
Oh, I'm sorry, 13.
Yeah.
All right, 13. I didn't even know that. Unlucky 13. And Garland, welcome to the program. As always, this is your third trip here, right?
You're correct, man. You're getting good with the numbers here, bud.
And very excited. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, last week it's kind of a slow week. We had the Saints on a bye. Tulane was on a bye. We only had LSU, and they took care of business down in Baton Rouge. Were you at that game, by the way, the LSU game?
I was not. Chris Hagan, our weekend anchor, was at a bachelor party. So I filled in, anchored, caught a little high school football the night, a little Rumble Jesuit, talked to Drew Brees. He had a big opening uptown there. He designed a shirt, so I got a little one-on-one with Drew Brees. Asked him about the breaking the record. And, I asked him about, did y'all catch the locker room speech?
Yes, I did, yes.
So the dance? Are you going to talk about the dance?
No.
Well, we can't talk about that, though.
So I asked Drew, it was just he and I in the back room at Untuck It on Magazine, and I'm like, in the video you say, I'm back here for one reason only. Like, are you making it known that the only reason you came back was just to win the Super Bowl and that's it, and if you get this, it's over with? And he looked at me right in the eyes and goes, I just meant to say that just because the record means nothing to me. All I want to do is win, okay? And that was it. That was the end of the sentence.
Was he intense?
He was a little intense. He made it known because I was like, so if you win this, is this like over with? Is this the end? He's like, I made that point just so we could say that, I don't care about these records. So,
He did want to make that point, I think, pretty loud and clear, and I think he did. And that was an incredible night in New Orleans. And that was an incredible night in Baton Rouge last Saturday night. Clyde and I talked about it on the podcast on Monday, but I think it's worth talking about right now where LSU is at after that big win. They've got a big game this weekend against Mississippi State. We'll get into that in a little while, but I think it's got all the makings of a trap game. And I'm not sure that I might be shocking you all when we get to our fearless.
No,
can't wait.
You didn't.
Can't wait.
Wait, because you shocked a few last week when you picked LSU over Georgia.
Thank you, big dog.
I put it on Twitter
on broadcast on Fox 8.
Yeah, going out on a limb.
Yeah, I thought they'd win. I didn't think they'd blow their doors off.
Blow the doors off.
Game was never close. It was never in doubt. I felt.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I think, and I'm not a sports bettor at all. Unlike a lot of people, unlike a lot of our colleagues. But I think the bet of the week, if you're betting sports, is Georgia. Coming off that performance, I just think they're going to have one of those bounce back weeks. That was embarrassing. They really got trucked in that game. I think they just got completely caught with their pants down, if you will. I think they're going to bounce back. I don't think they're going to play as bad as they did.
No, Jake Fromm can't possibly play any worse. And maybe they'll finally figure out, hey, we should maybe run the ball a little more because you know what? Because Holyfield was killing them and they went away from the run.
It's like we got one series of it and it's like, well, this worked. But, I mean, we really need to get this passing game going, guys. So, let's just put that in the back pocket until, the fourth quarter or something.
Well, look, let's start off with talking about the Saints a little bit because there was some news today out at Saints camp, some kind of, I guess, disappointing news. Ted Ginn Jr., wide receiver, veteran guy, played in the league a long time, put on injured reserve. That kind of surprised me. I guess he'd been banged up last week. 2 weeks ago, he didn't play at all against Washington. Traquan Smith has a huge breakout game. What do you all think about that move with Ted Ginn Jr.? Do you think it's a big blow to the Saints offense, or do you think Smith's emergence along with Cam Meredith covers that up?
You're saying it right there, Jeff. We saw what the future is for the New Orleans Saints when Traquan Smith filled in for Ted Ginn Jr. on national television against the Redskins. 111 yards on 3 receptions, 2 touchdowns. And Austin Carr's coming along more. Cameron Meredith is getting in nice form with the Saints. I think those 4 receivers, and Michael Thomas, I think they're going to be okay. I think Ted Ginn, Sean Payton gave him some side eye a few times this year. He was not happy with some of Ted Ginn's play this year, though he did have 2 touchdowns, had over 100 yards receiving. But man, he's getting to the end of the line here, Jeff. I'll be intrigued to see not only if this is the end of the season for him, because he can come back after 8 weeks, so they could put him back, week 15 possibly. Correct. But that's pretty late in the season. So this might be close to the end for Ted Ginn Jr., huh?
Yeah, what kind of role will he have at that point? I mean, if Traquan Smith keeps coming on, you can always – we've covered Drew Brees long enough. When you hear Drew Brees talk about players, you can kind of read between the lines, I mean, I've covered him long enough to know when he speaks highly of a guy like Traquan Smith and he tells you, yeah, we've seen this guy in practice, he's coming on, that means good things for him. And I think they really believe in Traquan Smith, and he's going to fill that role. And you may be right, Garland. This might be Ted Ginn Jr.'s last hurrah with the New Orleans Saints. He's under contract next year, but they could move on without him. And you just got to think, if Traquan Smith emerges here down the stretch, what kind of role would Ted Ginn Jr. even have? Does he even want to come back here? So I could see them moving on from him after this year.
The only concerning thing is that, I think Ted Ginn throughout his career, I think he's proven that, defying kind of like, obviously father time, just as we keep talking about with, Drew Brees, and we talk about with a lot of these guys, who continue to play like later in their careers, especially at these tough positions such as wide receiver, such as quarterback, you know, these really high-level skill positions. The only thing that concerns me is that I feel like the one thing that Ted Ginn does bring is that as a veteran, as a guy who's been around the block long enough, there are some things that I feel like he probably understands about the grind of an NFL season, especially in those later weeks, that maybe a younger guy like Traquan Smith is going to start to learn, but now he has to learn those things faster. Just about how defenses are probably going to try to scheme you just based on like how Drew kind of gets into the mode of a season. Like where Drew Brees is at for game 1 is a little bit different where he's at for game 12, and how you guys work in practice and how you guys are able to form that bond a lot closer. But it seems that Austin Carr and Traquan Smith, along with Cameron Meredith and everybody else, they're going to have to step up big, because now, again, and we're talking about this now, and we're going to talk about this obviously once we get to this Ravens team that is so defensively stout. Who is going to be that guy to go deep? Who's going to be that guy to break like the home run hitter? Who is going to be that player to be the yin to Michael Thomas's yang? Because obviously Michael Thomas, he can be a possession guy. He's a guy who, when you're in the red zone, he can go up and get touchdowns. But who is going to be that one to make you think about, if I don't cover this guy, he's going to beat me deep, and it's a touchdown, and he's 6 points.
Bonus points to Clyde for getting yin and yang correct, by the way.
Thank you.
Didn't do yang and yang,
yes,
which is not incorrect. Yin and yang. I was impressed by that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I agree with you, Clyde. I mean, I don't know if they've got a deep threat on the team. I mean, I know Traquan Smith had some big plays, but that was kind of a busted coverage on the 62-yard bomb. I know he had a 30-yarder where he kind of ran an out route, out and up. But I don't know if they got a deep speed guy. I don't think he's a true burner. I think he's fast, but I don't know if he's Ted Ginn Jr. fast. And that might be something they have to address in the draft next year. Now, a couple other transactions today, are maybe not transactions, but some things to be concerned about. Andres Pete did not practice today with a head injury. That's a new one. And Larry Warford, the other starting guard, was out with a back injury. Now, that is really concerning. When you have a big man with a back problem, an offensive lineman, that's not something you want to hear. 2 starting guards, and Garland, as you said before we went on the air, here they are getting ready to play a team that had 11 sacks last week with 2 offensive linemen that are banged up.
Yeah, Ravens lead the NFL in sacks with 26 through 6 weeks.
That's a lot.
And I was telling everybody all week, everybody was talking about the 11 sacks. I'm like, yeah, but that was Marcus Mariota, and that's a Titans team that's starting to look like they're going to fold. I'm like, this is Drew Brees. But now I'm like, uh-oh, Larry Warford and Andres Pete are out, and they signed Michael Ola today, who was with them in training camp.
Correct. As
an insurance policy. Jermon Bushrod hadn't played his best this season. Mark Ingram, I will say this, we talk about Ted Ginn Jr. On IR. At least Mark Ingram's back.
Yeah.
Maybe Alvin Kamara, throw him out a little receiver there, mix it up,
That's true.
It's just something to think about.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen how creative they've gotten with Taysom Hill in the read option in this season. There's nothing. I'm convinced there's nothing that's out of bounds with this team. pushing guys in different situations. Sean Payton has done a masterful job running this offense this year.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys to the offense has been the health of the offensive line, and now they got a couple guys banged up. So let's hope that those guys are not banged up long term. They're going to need them this week. This is a very physical team they're playing. Clyde alluded to it earlier. When you play the Baltimore Ravens, you're in for 60 minutes of a fist fight, and they get after you up front. They're going to need this game. I've got a bad feeling about this game for the Saints. I don't know why. It's one of those teams seemingly they don't play very well against.
No.
And
they don't play them a lot, so I
know
it's one of those things where you don't see this team very often. So it's like this game it's almost like one of those kind of toss-up neutral site games that we talk about in college football. Like obviously, if you have two teams who are pretty evenly matched, obviously it's going to be the team that kind of weathers the elements and weathers being on the road better and which one has the better talent. But obviously these two teams don't play a lot, and then obviously they talk about how Drew Brees has never beaten the Ravens. Unless this is breaking news to some people, I have no idea.
What?
He's never beaten the Ravens?
Yeah.
What? The last win was in 2003. They're 1-5 in their last 6. I mean, it's one of those things where you've got to, at this point, it's going to come down to matchup and scheme. And do the Saints have a much better game plan for what the Ravens are going to do than what the Ravens have against them?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I feel like the Saints are the better team, but often in this series, the Saints have been a better team and not won the game. Even in the Superdome, they haven't beaten this team. I was just looking at the weather forecast because it kind of struck me, hey, wait, this is going to be an outdoor game. And it's down the 50s. I didn't realize that.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to have to bring my parka.
Winter clothes.
Slow down.
A low of 39.
Okay.
A low of 39.
Okay, now we're talking. 55.
What is going on? I'm not sure I'm going to make that game.
Well, isn't it like about 39 degrees in the press box of the Superdome, though?
That's true.
Yeah, fair.
It's no different.
And you've got to wear parkas in the Superdome at the very top level. That's a thing.
Right
That's
now,
real.
the high forecast for Sunday is 52. That's pretty chilly.
That's chilly.
All things considered. Probably perfect football weather, though. Baltimore, let's get into them a little bit. They're kind of one of these teams. They don't have like a lot of star players. The defense kind of drives this team. Joe Flacco, we keep hearing, they're trying to move on. Are they going to go with Lamar Jackson? Flacco seems to have responded. Their running back is Alex Collins, a guy that like a lot of people, I don't think he was an undrafted guy. They don't have a lot of sexy big-name stars on offense, but they're just kind of one of those teams that always plays well. They're smart. And look, 11 sacks in one game, I don't care who you're playing. That's incredible. I mean, I didn't realize they had that many sacks, Garland. 26 sacks on the year.
To lead the league.
No, that's on pace.
You got 11 of them in one game.
No, I know that's on pace for some kind of record. I mean, I remember covering the Saints in 2000, my first year covering the beat, and Jim Haslett had that great defense. They had Leroy Glover, Darren Howard, Joe Johnson, Norman Hand, and I think they had 66 sacks that year. And I've told everybody since then the Saints will never break that. That's a team record. They'll never get 66 sacks again. Most years they're getting half of that. And here you got a team that's got 26 already, and we're not even halfway through the season. That's pretty remarkable. And you tend to think of guys like Terrell Suggs, some of the veteran players. I know they got the safety from San Diego. Is his name Weddle? I think.
Eric Weddle.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of just smart
who was
veterans.
with Tennessee, and especially that game, I'm sure must have been big for him, obviously.
Yeah, that's a good point. And but I mean, they just I don't know. I just got a feeling that like the Saints have had a lot of things go their way. This is not great insight on my part. I'm not breaking down X's and O's, but it just seems like things have gone their way the last few weeks. Up in New York, they fumble a punt, it bounces right back to them. A ball that was fumbled by the Giants bounced right up into Lattimore's arms. Clyde and I talked about this on the pod a few weeks ago. They had a blown blocking assignment on the 2-yard line, and Max Unger tripped the defensive lineman, got away with it, and Drew Brees gets out of it and throws a 25. They've had a lot of things going their way, and this seems like one of those games where it's not going to go their way.
Well, I will say this about Lattimore. At least that was some positive news on the injury front for the black and gold, that Lattimore is back from his concussion.
Yeah.
He's a full go this week because, as we know, they need the corners. Now, I know Flacco's not elite anymore. I know they love to use that word elite. But
he's definitely not elite.
No, he's not elite, but he's serviceable. Is that a good word? Serviceable.
Yes, that's a good word. Yeah,
and a serviceable Joe Flacco can still work the defensive backs there, so it's good that Marshawn Lattimore is back. But you're right, Jeff. This is going to be running the ball weather. It's going to be nasty weather, a little cold. Drew Brees, if Pete and Warford cannot be back for Sunday, it's going to be a close game. This is. I don't know what the over-under is. I'll pull that up in a second, but I'm thinking under on this game. I mean, the spread's 2.5. The Ravens are favored in this game. The Ravens are undefeated at home this year. It's still crazy to think, though, this Ravens team lost on the road to the Browns. But
in overtime.
Yeah, but the Saints, if it wasn't for the kicker and the hamstring, you never know. So it's just week to week, but they went on the road and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. What you got, Jeff?
50 points.
Whoa!
Total.
Whoa!
50 point total.
Over-under's 50. Wow, that's interesting. If you got two linemen missing.
Do not put your money there. That's bad.
Take the under, right?
Yeah,
I say go under.
I'm about to go to the casino.
The casino? You're going to drive across the border
30
to
to 20. I mean, that's a lot of points. I agree with you, Garland. I think this game's going to be in the 20s.
But I mean, look who they've played so far this year. I mean, obviously there are two losses coming against Cincinnati and of course at Cleveland. Both of those games are on the road. But I mean, you had the Bills. They trumped 47-3.
Yeah.
They lost the very next week to the Bengals, 34-23. Then they rattled off 2 wins against Denver and Pittsburgh. Then lost to Cleveland overtime. Then obviously completely stomped Tennessee. There are a lot of question marks about all of those teams that they played so far through the first 6 weeks. I think even with a pair of injuries on the line, I think the Saints are going to be top to bottom one of the better teams, if not the best team that they will have seen, other than maybe Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati deserves a little bit more credit than what they're getting right now. I think they're actually a really, really quality, really tough team, as well as the Browns. So I think the thing about this game is I think you're right because, we talked about Tennessee before going into that game about how obviously Tennessee was coming off of the overtime game-winning drive by Mariota, and so you figured that was going to be something that eventually got them to maybe Tennessee being back in the AFC South race, because obviously look at the AFC South now, but clearly not. And clearly, Mike Vrabel said this after the game, they had to get back to the drawing board because no one did anything right in that game. And for me, that says, well, the Ravens were always going to probably have a better chance in that game because Tennessee is too wishy-washy and too off and on. Right. I think the Saints, if you're going into this matchup, you know that if you can rattle Flacco, if you can get some interceptions, which is interesting because Marshawn Lattimore quoted as from our own Josh Castenstein said, I want them to target me. I want to make plays in the ball, challenge myself in the game, all that. They ain't throwing my way, so I'm just a great player. No, I want them to challenge me. This may be this week that he gets that. I think this is going to be the first week where I think Joe Flacco is going to test Marshawn Lattimore because if he's as good as he says he is, and obviously he's Defensive Rookie of the Year, then this is the games where you got to make plays because it could come down to a very plotting, on the ground, not very many chances in the air type of game. And if you're going to make those plays, you got to make those plays in games like this.
Well, this is they've overhauled their entire receiving core. Their three top receivers are all new this year. One of them being
one
Willie
guy
Snead.
I think we're very familiar with.
Willie Snead, of course, Michael Crabtree, longtime Raider and 49er, and then John Brown, who came over from Arizona, is kind of a speedy guy,
as
smaller
Josh would
guy.
say, hashtag Willie Snead revenge game.
Yeah, this kind of is. Willie Snead's having a good year there. But they don't really have a dominant receiving core. Clyde, you're right. They're gonna try and run the ball. They got Marshall Yanda, Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle. They got some big guys up front. They're gonna try and run it, control the clock, keep Drew Brees off the field, and let their defense try and dominate. I mean, and they've got kind of a no-name defense. I mean, other than we've all heard about Suggs. We know Eric Weddle, Marlon Humphrey, first-round draft pick a year ago from Alabama. Everybody knows about him around here, but otherwise they got a bunch of guys that nobody's ever heard of. Michael Pierce, Brandon Williams, Brent Urban. Those are just kind of no-name guys. C.J. Mosley, another Alabama guy. Yeah. And the backup linebacker, one of their backups is Kenny Young, former Curtis star who went to UCLA, fourth-round draft pick this past year, and I think he's going to end up being a very good NFL player. But I think this game comes down to can the Saints get a lead and get control. When they get a lead, as we've seen the last few weeks, they're very difficult because they can run or pass. When they get behind, Peyton has a tendency to kind of abandon the run sometimes, and they're a little bit easier, I think, to defend when they become one-dimensional.
And Drew Brees right now, this is going to be intriguing. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
This is the number one defense in the NFL.
Drew Brees is throwing an insane clip of 77% passing completion percentage, which could just demolish his old record of 72, which he set last
year. But
he has 0 interceptions.
That's crazy.
Obviously, he's going to throw one sooner or later.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. He hasn't even come close to throwing one.
Yeah.
I went back and watched the games. There's not been one pass that, you could say like a ball was in a guy's hands and you were like, whoa, they got lucky there. I mean, he hasn't thrown a ball that's even been close to being picked.
Well, this week he'll be under duress, I'm guessing. So it's going to be intriguing to see if this is the week that it happens or it just keeps continuing there,
Yeah, he's playing as well as I've ever seen him play. I mean, his numbers are off the charts, and as long as he's playing that well. But we also know when he goes on the road, he doesn't quite play as well outside. Get windy conditions. I don't know if there's going to be a heavy wind forecast in this game, but sometimes he just doesn't play as well out for whatever reason outside of the climate control conditions of the Superdome. So we'll see. Maybe they lean on Mark Ingram. I mean, they really didn't get a lot of Mark Ingram last week.
Got a lot of
tread on those tires.
Game. Yeah. I mean, remember how we were talking about them going to the Buffalo game last year, but I was going to be cold, freezing, and what do? They literally snapped the ball, Mark Ingram's in the backfield, and literally it was nothing but a steady dose of Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara a little bit, going back to Mark, chunking the ball. I mean, it's one of those things of just one, all game. And you figure that the Ravens are going to be able to handle that. But, I mean, for me, I guess, we're talking about the wind and we're talking about the elements. This may come down to a kicker's battle. It's one of those things where we could literally be talking about a field goal here, an extra point there, could be the decider in a game like this that could be close. So, obviously, you're now coming down to, the foot of Will Lutz to be able to get you to the point where it may be life or death in terms of winning or not winning the game.
That's a great point. Now, Will Lutz came from Baltimore, remember?
Yes.
He was stuck behind Justin Tucker, who might be the best kicker in the league right now. That was a cagey pickup by the Saints. I remember when they did that, we were all like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Kai Forbath's not that bad. They're giving the job to this guy that came in and had a tryout. And Will Lutz has been solid as they come. He solved their kicking game. I think now with him and Morstead, they have a very solid kicking game, but now they're going up against a guy that can kick 60-yarders like that. I mean, Tucker is he's the best I've ever seen, long range at least. It doesn't even seem like he's, has any problems at all getting the distance, and he's an incredibly accurate kicker. And in a defensive battle, running game, the type of game we can see develop on Sunday, it could come down to who's the best kicker.
Some of these games I have a good read on. Jeff, to be very honest, I can't give you a pick. I don't know what's going to happen on.
That's fair.
You're going to have to give me a pick.
Well, you're going to have to give one later, but I mean, still,
well,
you can flake now.
I'm going up against the spread later, though. We're talking straight up here. So we'll. I'll still permeate on that for a couple more minutes.
All right. Well, last thing let me throw out to you guys before we move on to the colleges. This swing coming up, okay? I think it's a pretty critical swing, right?
Yeah.
They go to Baltimore, then they come back the next week, go up to Minnesota for a primetime game at a place they haven't had a lot of success at, and then they come back home and play the Rams, who very well could be unbeaten. We don't know what the Saints' record will be at that time, but that could have playoff implications as far as the seeding's concerned, that Rams-Saints game. This stretch, I think Mike Triplett had a really good story this week, our former colleague, who's now at ESPN, saying that the Saints' schedule the rest of the season is the toughest in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they don't get much of a break after the Rams game. They come back, they play at Cincinnati. Clyde, you mentioned that. I think Cincinnati's a legitimate team, a team that I didn't think was going to be that good. And then they play the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to get back on track. I don't know about the Falcons, but then they go to Dallas, who appears to be getting their act together.
I don't know about that yet. I mean, they obviously had a game where they were able to showcase the things that they apparently couldn't do for the first 5 weeks of the year. Consistently. And I mean, Dak Prescott still didn't throw over 200 yards. So you're right. It's almost as if, could that bye week have come at a different point in time? And could that have been more important later on because of the stretch, because of who you're going to be playing towards the end of the season?
Well, I think if they can go 4-3 in this 7-game stretch, I think they're going to be in great shape. That we have them at what, 8-4?
8-4, yeah.
Going to the last quarter. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think if they go 4-3. Tough road game at Minnesota, tough road game at Cincinnati, tough road game at Dallas. We know the Atlanta game is going to be a victory. They're playing Thanksgiving night in the Dome. That environment will be incredible. But I think 4-3 would put them in a great spot. 8-4 going into the final quarter of the year because I think these next two games they've got to split. Somehow they got to beat either the Ravens or the Vikings. I don't think they can afford to lose both.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess at this point the idea is a numbers game because you're talking about, I mean, obviously the Rams are undefeated. Obviously could be considered at this point the best team in the NFL. If they're going to be the number one seed and they're going to romp throughout because of the way that the NFC West is, because of some of the other teams that they end up playing, if you know that the best you can do is possibly getting the 2 seed, you'll win the South, but get the number 2, then, hey, do that. But you've got to, like, at this point, because if you're going to try to see if you can try to keep match wits for wits with the Rams, I think it's a fool's errand at this point. If you can get the number 2 seed, it means that you're going to have home field to at least the NFC title game. Take that all day.
Yeah, and the Rams, have you seen the crowds? They're still not all in
I
on the Rams.
heard there were some stories about
I haven't seen that.
LA.
No. What's the story?
There's just a ton of empty seats at these games at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Jeff,
it was a bad bet. It was a bad bet the entire time, and now they're starting to come out.
No one's going to the Chargers games. No one's going to the Rams games, Jeff. They don't care if they're winning. If you get a chance to watch a Rams game, wait till they come back from a commercial break. You'll see the wide shot.
Oh, yeah.
The Coliseum is only like 3/4 full, sometimes maybe a little over half full. They're just not all in. So if the Saints get the 2 seed and they have to go to L.A., that's
not terrible. That's not a lose.
And it's going to be 80 degrees.
Yeah, by that point, it's like, it's going to be like, right, we might as well be in the Dome at this point. This is perfect.
That'll debunk the cold air theory on Drew doing bad on the road. It's going to be 80 degrees. He lives in the summer in San Diego there.
So he knows better than anybody.
He knows how that breeze rolls in California.
Oh, yeah.
So I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We're only 5 games into the Saints season there.
Yeah, well, look, I think the last time that the Saints beat the Ravens, the only time I covered as a beat writer, Steve Gleason blocked a punt. I believe Mel Mitchell. Do you remember Mel Mitchell?
I remember that.
Well, I think still hanging around New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. Both those guys blocked punts. They blocked 2 punts in that game, and Jake Delhomme came in and iced the game at the end. I remember for Aaron Brooks, who was hurt.
Aaron Brooks.
That's my memory. It's amazing. As old as I am, that I still have that great memory. So it just goes to show
there are other terrible things about you, but we won't go into that now.
Yeah, the old age and the memory is still there. But all right, let's switch gears. Let's go move on to college because we alluded earlier, I think, and by the way, we got a great crowd out here tonight.
Well, there's a transportation van out here, so I don't think they're here to see us.
What?
They just happen to be here.
Dude, people bring party buses to see the Dad Chat podcast.
I don't know, man. I certainly didn't pay for it. I'm just letting you know now.
I'm digging this Darkest Before Dawn that I'm drinking. This is good stuff.
It's good stuff. It really is great.
I just ordered one.
Oh, very nice.
I'm going with it. I'm going the Darkest Before Dawn.
At NOLA Brewing Tap Room, of course, where we're at every Thursday night. Incredible selection of beers. I'm going to probably try and steal this NOLA beer hat, so don't let anybody see me.
I don't think they'll be looking
for it.
Secret
is safe with me, bro.
Yeah, I want to grab that on the way out. But switching gears to the LSU Tigers, who are probably, I think it's fair to say, the story of college football this year. Nobody had them picked in the top 10. I know I didn't. I thought they'd lose 5 games. So what do I know? I thought they'd be 7-5.
You're on an island here. You're in the middle of an island.
Oh, you both thought they would be better?
I thought they would go 9-3.
I thought they would.
I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah,
I sound pound.
Is that documented?
I said pound the over when it was 7-5. The over number 7 wins. I'm like, just get on there, get on the over there. No, I did not see Joe Burrow become like all-world running quarterback here. I mean, Burrow's got 242 yards rushing. He's the 3rd best rusher on the team.
Wow, I didn't realize that. He's not bad. He's a better athlete than people think.
Jeff, I know you can agree with me on this, okay? We've covered a lot of robot quarterbacks in this day. And when I say robot quarterbacks, I'm talking about the John Parker Wilsons of the world, the Zach Mettenbergers, who say absolutely nothing, despise even being around us.
I don't think they despise being around you. They just media savvy.
No. Zach Mettenberger flat out called Wonkin K Debbie Downer after one game at Alabama.
Well, it might have been a Debbie Downer.
Come on, Kincaid's Mr. Sunshine. I don't know about that.
Kincaid's Mr. Sunshine.
Anyway, it's really refreshing to have a guy like Joe Burrow not only playing quarterback for LSU, he actually shows personality during the game. Yelling, "This is my house," even though it's only been his house for 6 games.
Like 6 games for 2 months.
I'm not going to go against Joe Burrow.
Let him do it.
So he's saying, "This is my house." He's talking trash to the other teams. He came up with a new word on Monday when we asked him about the fans storming the field, and he said they're not the most soberest fans. We don't have to go with English lessons here. It's fine.
That's
true. He's already he already has 1 degree. Okay, he's he's on his graduate degree at LSU. He's already a graduate transfer, so I'm not going to question him. The guy is so popular. You realize back in his hometown of Auburn, Ohio, they're selling LSU gear at the Walmart, okay?
Is that right?
It's
yes.
real.
Oh, yeah.
It's very real.
Yeah. They're making money off of Joe Burrow back in Auburn, Ohio. They're selling LSU gear in the middle of Ohio State country. This guy is extremely popular. I mean, you see the shirts all over, Joe Burrow and the last name.
EAUX.
Yeah, dude, everybody's all in on this dude, and he talks about the fans the other day. About how much he loves them, and he can't wait to be here for the next 2 years.
That's huge, because there's a lot of talk. No. Just saying.
He needs 2 years. He needs some season. He ain't leaving after this year.
Wait, going pro?
There was talk that.
No.
I'm just saying. I'm just giving you the news.
Will not happen.
There was talk. There were just rumors that if he came in and had the year that people were kind of expecting him to have,
Justin Jefferson would quit if he left, because Justin Jefferson is like
Justin Jefferson right now
going
is
to another
is
level
boy.
with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, because he knows he's not going to get anywhere else. But there was talk that possibly if he had a great year and things worked out and fell in his favor, that maybe there's a possibility that he could leave early and declare for the NFL draft. That obviously that could still be on the table, but if he's committed, if he's that committed right now, and honestly, I think that takes to your point too, because I mean, y'all had to live with it. We just saw it from the outside, but I think that goes again to show you the overall. Now we're starting to see the shift from Les Miles to Ed Orgeron. I think you're starting to see the shift in mentality, in attitude, in now. Granted, like
how
these
so?
things
Like
are going
what's
to
the
be.
shift?
I'm just in terms of obviously when you talk to Ed Orgeron, you're getting a lot more from him, or you're getting a little bit more in different ways than you got from Les Miles. Les Miles was lock and key. I'm going to say all the boring stuff, except for saying all the other kind of dumb stuff that didn't make a lick of sense.
I like it. I like it, Clyde.
You're seeing his athletes.
You're
seeing the student athletes, like Foster Moreau, like guys like, and you have to understand, like guys like Foster Moreau, Joe Burrow, Devin White. Those guys, if they were under Les Miles' scheme, would have a leash. A leash as long as a pin hook. Like those guys didn't talk for a reason because they were too dangerous, because they were too fun. Ed Orgeron is now clearly putting his stamp on the program of saying, like, look, Foster Moreau, if he's working his tail off and he's doing what we asked him to do, I'm going to let him kind of go off the script a little bit and say what he wants to say. Joe Burrow, the same way. He's competing his tail off.
Greedy, I'm going way also.
Greedy? I'm telling you, man.
I'm a big Greedy fan.
Exactly. Those guys would not have the leashes they would have under a different scheme. And that's why, for me, I think this team is a lot more fun to watch, both on the field and then, obviously, with you guys having to interview them. And that wouldn't happen before. And I think now that's why you're starting to see the tide starting to turn in Ed Orgeron's favor. 1, because they're winning. 2, because of how they're winning and who they're beating. And then 3, because Ed is a completely different person than what Les Miles was. And it's because of that, that's how that changes.
Jeff, Monday pressers is when LSU talks. They are so much just easier to be around with Ed Orgeron as the coach. There were sometimes Les Miles, I would sit through 25 minutes him talking, and I'm like, what the heck is going on right now?
What's he saying?
Dude, he's talking about
exactly
Columbus.
What is he saying?
He's talking about Columbus Day
time.
Eating
grass, some stuff. I'm sure it was going to be some stuff with Spurrier. But you guys have seen it.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy, but I'm glad he's gone. His hair has gotten a lot redder since he's retired there. He needs to put the dye away.
He's not the only one. Between him and Witten, whoever they're going to, if that hair dye is legit.
Dude.
Wow. I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. You guys
the Les Miles red hair dye.
No punches here.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling, though, this game's going to be tougher than everybody thinks. I mean, Mississippi State needs this game. They come off a big win against Auburn. They were disappointed with their home loss to Florida. Dan Mullen comes back, beats them on their home field. They lost to the dreaded Kentucky Wildcats, of all people, the week before. They scored 7 points against Kentucky, 6 points against Florida. Now, we saw Florida against LSU. They got a good defense.
Yeah.
So there's no real disgrace there, but lost a 13-6 game there. Come back, they beat Auburn. I think if LSU's focused into this game, they'll win, but human nature, man. I mean, that was a huge win against Georgia. You got Alabama coming up in a couple weeks. I think it's natural to not be at your best for this game.
But I will say this. It's good that State's ranked and that they beat the daylights out of them last year. They have their attention. There is no – I guarantee there's no Alabama talk around that facility right now because of what Nick Fitzgerald embarrassed them last year in Stark Vegas. But what? How many points? Over 20 in the game? It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I guarantee nobody wants to go back to that. LSU's a 7-point favorite in this game. I think LSU's going to win this game because – this defense is finally figuring out what it has to do to get a win.
Yeah.
Florida in the swamp is tough, man. That was a tough game. Jeff, you were there.
Yeah.
It's like 95 degrees on the field. Florida's not a bad team. I mean, luckily no one jumped off the LSU bandwagon, the fans didn't, because they knew how tough Florida was.
Yeah.
And the Gators still only one loss there. They got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in a couple of weeks, and they might put a scare into Georgia.
Yeah.
I just think LSU I know the trap game. I know it's out there, but I just don't buy it. I think the LSU has Mississippi State has LSU's full attention.
Do you guys think LSU is a legitimate college football playoff contender? I mean, can they get in the?
I think they're on the outside. I think they're just on the outside. I think this season, and I think the biggest thing is, I think we've talked about this before, and I think we've tried to put LSU in a lot of different quadrants. Like, obviously, you have your quadrants of national title contenders, teams that are obviously 100% there, that are going to be in the hunt. Then you have your next tier where you have teams that are doing well in their conference. Another team that could potentially be there is going to be Texas. It's weird to say that because I didn't think after they lost to Matt
boy,
Canada,
Tom Herman. Where's Larry Holder at?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Larry at?
Always ripping on Tom Herman.
You're going to have that tier outside, too, that's going to cause enough noise. I think LSU is in that tier. I think they're in a tier where they are as close as they're going to be right now, but 2019 and 2020 is going to be their year. I think 2019, because at the same time, you've got to realize if the schedule is going to set up, because you have to have a lot of other things happen for you. You've got to have the schedule set up the way you need to. You've got to stave off major injury. You've got to win some games that you're probably not supposed to win and be there at the end. And you've got to at least either win your conference, win your division, and be there in the title game at the end. And even if you lose, have a high enough percentage and strong enough wins. I don't think that's this year, but at the same time, though, and I've talked about this, or I've tried to talk about this with LSU fans before. If you're tired of going to the Orange Bowl, if you're tired of going to the Citrus Bowl, the Outback Bowl, Music City Bowl, if you're tired of those second-tier bowls, if this is the year where LSU can get to the Sugar Bowl, take that. That's okay, because look at where you were before. Like, you were literally in the hunt for the Texas Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Tax Slayer Bowl, the Music City Bowl, and all those other second-tier bowls. If this is the year where you can go into it, have multiple top 25 wins, have only like 2 losses to ranked Florida and maybe an Alabama team, and then steamroll the rest of the way and go into a Sugar Bowl year where you're probably going to play in either Oklahoma or maybe a Texas, that's a quality year. And that's a year, and that's a team, and that's a season that you have not had since 2011. Where you were playing in a major New Year's Six-style bowl. That in itself, to me, schedules progress, and it sets you up for next year where you'll be a top 25 team, top 5 team going into 2019.
Jeff, the reason I was all in on your Georgia prediction last week is because who was Georgia's toughest game? At South Carolina, Missouri.
Well, look at what Carolina did against Texas A&M last week.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I think LSU's a contender because you know why? Guess who Alabama's played this year? You want to just bear with me for like about 45 seconds.
Okay.
Arkansas State, Ole Miss.
I believe they opened with a tough opponent.
Oh, yeah, that tough opponent, right?
Louisville, Jesus.
Yeah.
Puma pass was more like a kitten pass.
Louisville might be the worst team in college football. So
they're one of them.
So you got Louisville, you got Arkansas State, Ole Miss. Their toughest opponent was at home, A&M. Okay,
A&M.
Legitimate opponent. Then the Raging Cajuns, Arkansas, and Mizzou. That is a bunch of dogs.
Hail Missouri.
Okay?
But they've trucked
Mizzou.
everybody they played.
Except for Missouri.
And the reason I thought that LSU was not only going to compete with Georgia, beat them, is because Georgia had not been pushed to the limit yet. Alabama has yet to be pushed to the limit.
Alabama's a different beast, man. It's a different beast, and you know that.
If this was at Bryant-Denny Stadium in 3 weeks, I say LSU loses by 2 touchdowns, 70 points. In Tiger Stadium,
so they don't lose by 1?
It's going to be tight. I really think LSU's going to get through State this week. and
going to the bye week, and
Going
have
to the bye
2
week.
weeks, and literally we're going to have 2 weeks to hear nothing but all of us, everybody talk about, is this the year? Is this going to be the year? When was the last time LSU beat Alabama? Is this the team that can do it? Is Alabama ready? Is Tua really that good?
7 times in a row they've lost to this team. 7 times, man.
Look,
this is getting tiring.
I know. I'm sure it's tiring for them too.
I don't care who wins the games. I just cover the games.
Of course.
But you get a little tired of seeing one team beat the daylights of the other team over and over again there. It's like Lucy with the football with Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
I made
How many
the
times
statement.
kick that football, bro?
I made the statement a few years ago that LSU would not beat Alabama again as long as Nick Saban's the head coach.
Oh, okay.
I think this is their best chance to do it because they get them in Tiger Stadium.
Because next year they got Tua's got.
They're going to go there, and even though I know they're going to have a great team, Clyde's right. 2019 is when we all thought LSU was going to be their year.
Stacked.
They're going to probably lose Devin White and Greedy Williams in the draft, but that's
right,
okay.
But they've got guys.
Coming
obviously,
in.
Caleb Vaughn's going to be back. You're going to have obviously
Stingley, the top recruits
you're going to have
coming
Stingley come in.
Yeah, they'll
I'm
be
telling
fine.
you, man, this 2019
but this
team,
year, they've got a shot. I mean, this is the best shot they have.
I no doubt think they have a shot.
This will be the best game that we've seen since the 2014 overtime game.
Yes.
Where they lost.
Yes.
This is going to be as good as that
Should have won
one.
that game.
They should have. You're right. They should have won that game.
One of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen.
And that's the thing,
though.
Like, and what's crazy about this is, I thought they would beat Florida. I thought Georgia would be the banana peel, but clearly, honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter because if Florida's still ranked, if Florida's still going to be ranked, and they lose to top-ranked Alabama, they could still, if some chaos happens, you're right, still possibly be in it. But I say right now, it's Sugar Bowl or bust against a high-profile either Oklahoma, Texas, or whatever team comes out of the Big 12, and which has got to be one of those two because they're the only two right now that actually make sense. Coming down the street for a New Year's Day game and realizing that 2 months from now, everybody gets to get the fervor back up when spring practice starts again.
All right, well, let's switch gears real quick because we do have to move on to some other things. But real quick, Tulane Green Wave, Clyde's future employer.
Oh, why'd you say that on air?
Got to do that, get that out there.
Oh, man.
The Green Wave. Is this a must-win game for them?
Well, at this point, every game's a must-win.
If they want to get to a bowl game,
I think it is, don't you?
There's still a path.
They got to win.
There's still a path to get to a bowl game, okay?
Yeah.
They got to beat
path.
That path is rocky,
It's a very narrow,
and littered
rocky
with
path.
landmines. Lots of spears. You know what this is? This is like in Mario Kart. Like literally, like you're one of those like guys. You're like right number 2, and all you need is hope that they don't have they don't have the green turtle to knock you off. That's what this is for Tulane.
They've got to win They're not going to beat Central Florida on the road.
No, okay.
And they're not going to beat Houston on the road, in my opinion. They've got to win those other 4 games.
SMU.
And they can win those other 4 games.
SMU's winnable.
Tulsa, ECU, East Carolina, and the big one at the end at home is Navy.
Because if
Navy.
they come
and
home,
Navy is not who
they're not.
It's not Navy.
if they come home with that game on the line to get a bowl win, yes, all of a sudden they could easily win.
They got to figure out who their quarterback is, though.
Also true.
Yeah, I went to the press conference on Tuesday. Willie Fritz was holding those cards tight to him, man. He wouldn't give up if it's going to be Justin McMillan or Jonathan Banks.
They had 2 weeks to figure it out.
Banks cannot throw the ball. McMillan is a better passer. He's got to figure out who's going to run with it, who's going to pass it.
And they've got 2 guys on the Biletnikoff award list now, so.
Yeah, man. Who would have thought Tulane would have 2 balling
2 guys
receivers?
on the Biletnikoff list, man.
They
That's
have
huge.
Ankalad and Mooney. And they're both killing it right now.
Both of them are excellent. They've got skill position players.
Yeah.
You can always get those guys in this state. Got to get the offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I think this is a win for Tulane. We'll get to the picks in a little while. But they're coming off a bye. They've gotten healthy. They're playing at home. It's a revenge game.
Yeah.
Got to win this game. Cannot lose it. And I think they will win it. All right. Moving on. We were talking earlier before we came on
Yes,
there.
I'm so excited.
New Orleans
I'm
Pelicans.
so excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opened their season last night. First of all, let me get a little rant out.
Ooh.
Little
Okay,
rant.
all right, everybody quiet.
Little
Everybody
Jeff
quiet.
Duncan soapbox.
All right,
but
I'll sit back.
I was out at a pretty established institution, a restaurant institution last night.
Call them.
Had to beg to get the Pelicans game put
Oh,
on.
come on. I hate
so
hearing
sick of
this.
this.
Had to
City.
I
beg.
hate hearing this.
We have the baseball playoffs on, and I'm having to beg to get them to put on the local team opening their season against one of the best teams in the NBA.
National
I
television.
got it on.
Reigning MVP.
The power of persuasion, I got it on. And by the time I got it on, the Pels had about a 6 or 7 point lead. They went on a huge run.
Yeah.
And I just thought they looked incredible. I mean, I thought they looked mid-season form that didn't look like the first game of the year to me.
Yeah.
You know, they were on offense. I thought the rotations that Alvin Gentry settled on are perfect. They got great contributions from guys like E'Twaun Moore.
Yeah.
Alfred Payton, a triple-double.
10,
First
10,
triple-double
First game.
since 83.
And they dominated the Rockets. I mean, the Rockets looked completely helpless trying to stop the Pelicans. I was thoroughly impressed.
Pelicans were up by 29 at one point in the third quarter. I was in shock watching this game. I thought it was going to be a close game. 32 points, 16 boards, 8 assists, a career high in assists. You talk about E'Twaun Moore had 21 points last
21.
night. It was like everybody was having a party. Julius Randle, former Kentucky Wildcat for
so
Jeff
many
Duncan
Wildcats still on this team, man.
25
I know
points
Jeff
in
hates
24 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, AD is I'm all in on AD with him just going out and saying, I want the MVP. I'm owning
the best
this.
player in the league.
I'm owning this right now. And right now, after one game, you know, he's right up there with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's Antetokounmpo.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Giannis, I think that AD, it's looking good, man. I mean, they won by 19 on the road.
Well, here's what I like about Randall. You know, I'm not the biggest DeMarcus Cousins fan in the world. Cousins obviously talented. But what I like about Randall is you get all of the positives that Cousins and Boogie had.
Yeah.
But he knows what he is. He's a big dude. He plays in the paint. He likes to mix it up.
Yeah.
He's not out there messing around, you know, trying to jack up threes and play point guard. He knows what he is. And, I mean, I think that's going to end up being a very good signing by Dell Demps. I mean,
you see some of that pass, and literally not only just that, but like the fact that he's able to pass so efficiently.
Yeah,
back.
excellent
Like he's
passer.
able to get the ball, and then he's able to also kick it back out. Especially because I don't know if you noticed some of the plays last night. You're seeing especially when you have Alfred Payton, Anthony Davis, and you've got Julius Randle playing off of what Drew Holiday is able to do. What they try to do is they try to spread you out, and then with their size, you've got to play Nico out on the wing, especially at that corner, because he's going to try to hit that as mates. And obviously, he did that. He was 6 for 8 last night from 30 points. They're going to try to kick to him, and if you let them do that, that means that you've got both Randall and AD able to carve them up on the inside. And literally, some of the precision passes they were able to make with Alfred Payton, with Julius Randle last night, shows me that this offense not only has a cohesion that is there that was a little bit stronger than what it was maybe through half of last year, literally going into that Rockets game at home where Boogie went out, with the way that Mirotic, Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, with those three leading the way, I have no doubts that Alfred Payton is going to at least be capable of putting up a triple-double either every night. But I'm also going to be very, very impressed to see Julius Randle, who could also be a very high-level double-double machine, because he is playing the 5. And you've got the rest of that team being able to phone around him in terms of like running that offense at a high clip and not feeling like it's stodgy or it's slow or it can't get enough shots off, because that's going to be the thing, man. The pace of this team is going to be incredible throughout the rest of the year.
Well, they come home and they play Sacramento Friday night, their home opener.
Yeah.
That should be a win, I would think.
Yes.
They've got a chance here. You know, we're so used to the Pelicans digging out of a hole early in the season. I think they've got a chance here to win like 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah, I understand with Mirotic. He's not going to go 6 of 8 from three-point land every
Yeah, it's not
game.
going to happen all the time.
Yeah, 30 points. He started
But-
center last night. That was a little intriguing move there. So you're right, Jeff. I did my preseason predictions. I put them on Twitter. I had the Pelicans as the 5 seed. And you know my favorite part about last night is that the Pelicans won big. They beat one of the best teams in the league. Maybe AD trade rumors will stop for maybe like 12 hours?
Like 2 seconds?
20
minutes.
I listened to Ryan Russillo. I listened to Bill Simmons and Colin Cowherd this week. All 3 of them talked about how AD is going to be gone by
You're
either
the only
the trade
ones.
deadline or by the summer. And I was like, oh, my gosh, are y'all all reading the same script out in L.A.? Y'all are killing me.
Yeah.
All 3 of
I mean, that's
y'all.
what it
Not
is.
going
I
to
mean,
be
to be honest.
gone during this season.
Yeah.
No way.
But-
now,
but
maybe after this season, but not during the season.
If they go up to the 2 or 3 seed, Jeff,
Dude.
this is working.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking that Rondo and Boogie out, Julius Randle, Alfred in. Okay, 1 game in. Let's not overreact.
Yeah, I think you're a little overacting here to 1 game.
But here's the thing, though. But there are
they're
some
younger.
things.
They're younger.
Yes.
And not injured as
Yeah.
much
No.
as Boogie. Yeah.
No, I that's the thing I like most about the acquisitions of Randall and Payton is they're both in their primes. They're in their mid-20s, early 20s, and they should be perfectly healthy and guys that can play 78 games a year.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, they're not going to have those injury problems. But let's see how this thing goes on. They played incredibly well last night. You're right. They're not going to knock down shots like that every night.
But if you're Houston, you should be very worried. And if you're the NBA, I think you should still be very worried.
No, I'm with you.
I think that because over the course, and you're right, it may be one game, but there's enough of a foundation there. And, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, man, the biggest thing for me is we like hearing our athletes who feel, and if they believe that they are the best players in the game, they want to say that. That story by Brian Windhorst that he did on AD, about AD basically saying that when Boogie went down last year, when DeMarcus went down last year, he said, I'm going to put this team on my back. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. And he did that. He literally went out and did that. Before the season started, there was a report out there that said that the reason he didn't he didn't have to go, and he didn't need to because it's a preseason, that he didn't go all out in the first 5 games of the preseason was because, or he kind of tiered it up towards getting to the regular season, was because he wanted to let people know that when we got to game 1, it's going to be on, and this switch is going to be on, and the person you're going to have to deal with is a dude that is 100% gunning to have this team in the top 5, at least of the Western Conference, and a person who wants to win the MVP out, bar none.
Yeah, I think the decision to go to Clutch Sports there's obviously a marketing or a strategy going on right now from that agency that's changed Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis didn't act like this before.
No.
He was never one of these guys like, I'm one of the best players in the league. This is obviously something his new representation, I think, is encouraging. And to me, that's, I don't know, there's a strategy there. And that's why I think a lot of people in the national media are saying he's gone because they see what's going on here. This is a very much, I think, a blueprint for a guy like LeBron James or somebody like that to move on to another market. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but it just everything seems like it's following a very, very much a blueprint. All right, let's move on. We'll get to Pelicans at future pods, but encouraging win to start the season.
No doubt.
And I think this team's going to be about 4-5-0 as opposed to 2-8 like they've been the last couple of years. All right, Fearless Forecast time, guys. Are you sure you all want to match wits with me on these picks?
Yes, absolutely, because as we've seen before, you are not to be trusted.
I might be the best picker. I believe I picked LSU to beat Georgia.
You picked LSU to beat Georgia, but I think we all took the points.
LSU to beat Georgia,
man.
right here. All right, LSU is a 6.5-point favorite against Mississippi State. After I said that I might pick something crazy, I think LSU is going to rout them.
Oh,
wait, I thought you pulled the okie doke on us.
I know, pulling the okie doke.
Here we go.
I think they're going to roll Mississippi State. I think they're going to roll.
At the beginning of the show, I thought he was going to drop a bomb on us.
No.
Yeah, who saw that coming?
We're talking trap game.
Yeah, trap game. You got to be watching. See the trap? Don't fall
Identify
into the trap.
Use the trap to your advantage.
Use the trap to your advantage.
I mean, I was about to call Jeff Trap King. You know.
Who are y'all?
He's a trap
What's your all's
queen.
pick? Come on. What's your all's pick? LSU State.
I'm glad there's no video to see
I know
you
too.
doing,
So you
to see you doing that dance there on the Trap Queen there. Okay. I got LSU. No Hail State this week. They
To
gonna
cover that spread?
6.5. They got it, bud.
I'm going with State on this one. I think LSU is going to win. I think there's something about this game, and I think it's something that LSU fans don't want to admit because obviously they want to have these rivalries with all these other bigger teams and like Ole Miss or whatever. I think this state run has been obviously one of the better runs for State in the history of their program. I think this game is actually going to be more interesting and much more of a true rivalry game for LSU throughout the rest of the year outside of Alabama. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think LSU wins. I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those fluke backdoor things where they cut it to like 5 or something. So I'm going to pick State in this one.
Ice Tracy,
Ice
field
Tracy.
goal to win the game,
Ding,
maybe?
ding, ding,
I can
ding,
see
ding,
something
ding.
like that happen. In other words, LSU
I don't care
wins.
I don't care what anybody says, man. Bradley Hadwerger. Come on, Bradley. Come on, dude. You know it was good. Stop hating on your boy. Thank you. He was not a fan of this last week. So shout out to him.
I like it. He didn't know what he's talking about. He was coming up here tonight.
Bradley Handwerger negative? Wait.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
What?
Crazy idea.
I
Sorry.
have never heard that
when
ever.
he sees this, he's going to be so angry.
He's coming up here tonight. Y'all are hating on him. All right, moving on. SMU, 7-point underdogs at Tulane. I like Tulane in that one. I just feel like the revenge game, Tulane's got to have it. I think they cover that one. I'm turning a total homer right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like the Green Wave.
I'm going to go actually SMU to cover the spread.
Yes.
Because you know what? I've kind of known Tulane over the years to kind of mess around on these games and kind of keep it close to the end.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the Pony Express keeps it under 7, maybe a 4-point loss.
Pony Excess.
Oh, good 30 for 30 reference there. Wave don't cover, but they get that win. They go to 3-4. Get closer to that bowl bid, baby.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with SMU to cover the spread, but I think Tulane. I think this is going to be a Tulane win. That, in my opinion, like you're right. Like you're going to be able to pull out these next two because you're going to have to go to Florida. You have to go to Houston in between all that. But I think you can definitely get this SMU team. You can definitely get that Tulsa team. Although that Tulsa team is going to be a little more tricky, but I'm going to go with SMU.
Yeah,
Tulane to win it, though.
SMU is a must-win. Tulane gets it, I think. I think they actually blow them out. All right, moving on to the Big Ten.
Ooh,
put a Big Ten game
finally
on here. I broke out from our SEC.
Thank goodness.
Usual listings. Michigan.
Oh, Big Ten.
Michigan
That's a real conference.
It is a real. It's a real conference in the Pac-12 right now.
Come on, Michigan State. That's always a big rivalry game. You got Jim Harbaugh
and the ACC
and Shea Patterson. -7 at State. I'm going with Sparty.
I'm definitely going with Sparty in that one.
Sparty's going to at least cover the spread.
They're going to keep it tight.
I think they might win the game outright. So I like Sparty.
I will say this: the national media are all over the Wolverines after pulverizing the Badgers on national television.
Yeah.
But Michigan State's a whole different beast.
It is.
It's going to be an extremely tight game. You might be right on that one, Jeff. They might even Michigan might blow that game and lose to Michigan State. And you know what will happen? They'll lose to State, and you know they'll do us all a big favor.
Beat Notre Dame? Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're all on the same page.
Michigan beat Ohio State.
Beat Ohio State. Oh.
Just get the Big Ten out of this.
It's not going to happen, dude. It's not happening, man.
I don't need it. I don't need any Big Ten teams in the bowl playoff.
So provincial. Provincial. Typical New Orleanian.
That's also true. Mark D'Antonio has had Jim Harbaugh's number since he's been in the conference. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. This Michigan team is still way too hot and cold for me, and I think that especially if they're playing on the banks of the Red Cedar, as they put in terms of East Lansing, I definitely think that State has this one. They will beat Michigan, and I think we'll start to see again this whole Michigan churning of the waters type deal with Harbaugh and his job and Michigan being back and all that stuff.
This is not a vintage Michigan State team. They lost earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
To Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Penn. They beat Penn State. But they just, they haven't been dominant. But nevertheless, it's a big rivalry game.
Yeah.
I like Sparty in that one. All right, moving on to the NFL. The Saints in their game are 2.5 point. I've got them at 2.5 point.
That's about right.
Underdogs.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's what
so
I was
the Ravens.
Oh.
I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one. I think the Ravens actually win the game straight up. I just got a feeling. I've said it all along. It just feels like a game the Saints are going to drop.
I don't like it. I don't like anything about this game. And I think that most of us watching it are going to have that same reaction of just absolutely just hating watching this game. I think the Saints are going to win, and I don't think it'll be close. But I don't think it's going to be pretty. So I'm going with the Saints on this one.
All right.
I'm going to go with the black and gold. Even if they do lose this game.
Shocking here. Both of you guys picking.
I just think it's going to be an extremely tight game. It might be a Justin Tucker field goal right at the end.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be.
Well, if Justin Tucker kicks a field goal and they win 23-20, the Ravens cover.
I'm saying it's like,
win by one.
You're going to win the game by one? Okay.
It definitely can happen,
It could happen.
All right.
Hey, if you're going across the border to the casino, get a half-point bump. Get that thing to 3, okay? Buy that half point there, okay? If you
tease it up.
Tease it up. There you go. Okay,
the old teaser.
Tease it up.
Yeah, tease
God,
it
we're
up.
degenerates. It's so bad.
Trust me, if I'm betting that game, I ain't taking 2.5. I'm definitely teasing that bad boy up.
All right, quickly. Let's move on real quick. Patriots -3.5 at the Bears. I'm all over the Bears in this game. I think the Bears trounce the Patriots.
Okay, we're going fast here.
Yeah,
I got 2 words for you.
I love the Bears.
I got 2 words for you. Mitchell Trubisky, no. Bum. Look garbage against the Dolphins.
Patriots are 3.5 point favorites.
I'm going Patriots all in.
I'm going Bears. I
like the Bears a lot.
I don't.
You see the Osweiler, what he did to that team? Brock Osweiler.
Osweiler may have done that to that defense, but they almost lost that game too. They should have lost. In all essence, they should have lost that game.
The Patriots gave up 40-something points at home.
40 points at home to the Chiefs. Now, granted, the Chiefs are very good.
Wait. Y'all just did Chiefs.
They lost to the Lions.
Y'all just did Chiefs and Dolphins. Y'all just put Osweiler and Mahomes.
No,
what about the Lions?
They just kind of
crossed
each other.
Whipping the Patriots.
I don't think anybody did that.
But
I'm going with the Bears. Absolutely.
Thank you, Clyde. Clyde's all over that. He's smart. Panthers +5 at the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. I love the Eagles in this game. I think the Eagles truck the Panthers and continue to put more distance between the Saints and the rest of the division.
I say Cam Newton keeps it close. Panthers lose. They lose by a field goal.
Man.
5 points, Clyde.
Ooh.
Panthers 5 points. It's just about right.
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles on this one. The South is such a mess. It's going to be a mess. I think the Saints are going to have the division wrapped up pretty early, and everything else is going to be house money in terms of just getting wins to stay in that top 2 range. But I'm going with the Eagles on this one. I don't trust anything about Carolina or any other team in the South at this point other than the Saints.
Clyde and I are either going to be really right
or really wrong.
Or really wrong.
And the good part about it is it's not going to matter for me, so I'm good.
It's true. All right, let's wrap it up here. Before we sign off, though, Garland, once again, we talk every week on here. You guys have a ton of coverage every night. Tell everybody how they can check out the coverage on Fox 8.
Yeah, 3.5 hours of program in a week.
So much program.
We're on Thursday night now, so we have football tonight, NFL. Tomorrow night, Fox 8 football Friday. I'm going to be in Vacherie. Have you ever been to downtown Vacherie before, Jeff?
Is there a downtown?
Yes, there's a downtown.
Correct word?
There's a downtown area.
The high school and the gas station are right next to each other.
Is there a stoplight in Vacherie?
Although
there is a stoplight in Vacherie.
I wouldn't call that downtown Vacherie, though. But, it's
you know what?
Vacherie.
So the De La Salle Cavaliers, you might have heard of them on St. Charles Avenue.
Oh, they're going down to Bayou.
They're going down to Bayou to Vacherie. So that's our game of the week. And then we got Fox 8 tailgate, 2 o'clock on Sunday. Yours truly next to me is going to be on at 2:30. I haven't told him that yet, but he's going to be on at 2:30.
Oh, hey, good job, Jeff.
Yeah. He's
Didn't
on every
know that,
week.
but I guess so.
Hey, if you want to get those ratings up, you put Jeff Duncan on the pregame show.
You got to put him on, man.
That's exactly right.
All those 45-year-old women, man.
Female viewership.
They have something to watch.
Female viewership spikes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Saints Ravens 3:05 after Fox 8 tailgate. We wrap it all up on Final Play, and then we got Black and Gold Breakdown on Monday with Deuce McAllister. We got Overtime where the sports department breaks it all down. I will say this. This has been a great night here. Josh Katzenstein torched some wings a second ago. I was very impressed by that. We got Luke in the house. I saw my dentist roll up in here.
Oh, that's what that was you were talking to?
Dude, that guy, yeah, my dentist just rolled up in here. This place is lit tonight, okay? Keep going. We good.
So litty. So #litty right now. Big time.
I think your dentist would approve.
My dentist threw it up. He was like, "What's up?"
Yeah, I mean, you can't leave the man hanging if he sees you.
Dude, Dr. Cannell was in this joint.
All right, look.
Shout out to Dr. Cannell.
We'll be back here Thursday night, as always, here at NOLA Brewing Tap Room. And again on Monday night over at the Balcony. We got to get you over there, Garland. Balcony Sports Lounge.
You know what? If Josh Katzenstein does not want to go to Bay St. Louis on Monday, I'm possibly throwing out here. I might want to go.
Well, he's not. Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to be in the next 2 weeks. So I
think
we're
in the next 2 weeks. So you may have just signed
yourself
up.
I need to fill in. So you want to come to Bay St. Louis, dog?
Monday. And
a lot of fun.
Then I can go to the casino.
The casino right after. Yeah,
right after.
Hey, Doug.
Hollywood, get down, bro.
Yeah,
I might think about Monday because I will say this on the podcast when I'm jogging on St. Charles Avenue.
I love when you tell people that you do that. It's awesome.
Yeah, Jeff painted a beautiful picture of the sports bar in Bay St. Louis. I had to go online
to see it?
Check it out right after because y'all painted a beautiful picture of it.
It's wonderful
on the podcast.
It is beautiful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, I checked out the pictures. So you know what? Maybe next Monday. You might be doing
it.
If Mr. Katzenstein is going to be busy the next few weeks, maybe I'm going to get it on there.
That's at the Balcony Sports Lounge upstairs at 200 North Beach Restaurant. I want to thank everybody here, Michelle Tuggle, Bonnie Mulholland, of course, Michael Chauvin, Jennifer Armstrong's here as well, our devoted sports leader, Luke Augusta, our great producer.
Shout out to Luke.
And tonight, I might add, is a very special occasion.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's Clyde Verdin's, I believe, his last episode
of
the Dat Chat podcast.
Last one I have to edit and post and send up.
Clyde's going to go out and streak.
Oh,
Clyde is going to streak.
Where was that at the beginning of the show?
I'm going to get verklempt here in a second, you know?
Who's going to need tissues?
No more Clydico.
Who's going to need
no
tissues?
More Clyde
Clydico is dead. That Clydeco is dead.
It's a very sad but also very happy occasion because Clyde's moving on to Tulane Sports Information Department.
Roll
Tulane
away.
Let's tell everybody
baseball.
where I'm going.
Can we get a hell of a hullabaloo?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I still haven't signed a contract yet.
By the way, did you know that, remember I made my just completely unapologetic request for an Angry Wave hat to
Yes.
Troy Dannon?
Yeah.
I got 2 Angry Wave hats.
See, now
I'm not sure I should say that.
Now,
'cause
want to put this on record. Don't call me for nothing.
No.
You got it. Don't call me
calling
for
you
nothing.
all the time.
Jeff,
I'm
like
gonna
I
be a
see
pain in
that
the
Jeff's
butt.
about the hijack the 6-pack.
Yeah, you're going to
and
hijack
go
that,
out the
and
door,
hijack bottles, all that good stuff. But don't call me for nothing. You got what you wanted.
Well,
right?
we're getting ready to get sloppy drunk with Clyde. After
A little bit, yeah.
We're going to
but
do
before
a
we
few,
could definitely thank
Jaeger
you,
bombs.
Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
bombs.
Thank you, Jennifer. Everybody I've worked with here. You know, obviously going back to Larry, Herbie, Josh,
Wow.
Luke, everybody, Andrew and Ron Higgins and everybody here. Andrew Lopez, obviously. Obviously now Brody, Christopher Chase Edmonds, who is also
You're
in the
getting
house.
shout-outs back here, man.
Frankie Priato, obviously Michelle. Everybody
going down the whole staff
has been
list.
so fantastic. You guys have been great. I'm going to miss y'all.
I'm
but
tearing
obviously
up.
we're going to still be in. But
Tearing up.
Yeah, tear up. But thank you for everything. And then I'll see everybody at Clancy. Also, I'm going to Clancy's tonight, 8:30. Set up at the table. Jeff did, and Jeff had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with it whatsoever. I did it all on my own. Thank you. But thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. You championed us from Duncan Holder
Man,
to this.
I need a tissue. Let me
Appreciate
get a napkin
The
here. Let me get a
podcast
napkin.
will not
Hold
be
on.
the same without Clydeco.
Give me some tissues.
Clyde did an
Here you
incredible
go, Clyde.
job.
Take that one, man.
I'm
Woo!
tearing up a little bit. Yes, excuse me. Clyde's
Right,
I
last.
got a little sweat,
Right here.
actually. Got a
Right
little
here.
sweat right here.
Right here.
Yes. But we will sign off with that incredible farewell.
When I
Clyde
go out with
Verdin.
a bang, dude.
I'm not sure it'll ever be the same, but Dat Chat signing off. Everybody join us here next week at NOLA Brewing Tap Room in Uptown New Orleans.
Whoever said that's creepy. Ooh, that's.